Well, good morning, everybody here. And I would say you're all from the arts, no? Or people from outside other faculties also here. In any case, it's so nice to see so many prospective artists, filmmakers, all the rest of that. And I also apologize that you've been kept waiting. Probably our fault, those who come from outside. But it's worst thing being here is wonderful hall at the presentation. I think how they have done it. I've been here about 2 years ago, but I'm very happy to see what some of our private universities are able to do. It's wonderful. Now, one thing, I'm not an artist. I'm only a poet. Sometimes poets can be artists also. But I have got here something written which I read out already to a few people some time ago. One thing is all about art, but it's much better like Mrs. Hussain will do here. She'll present her images. Then you see art in practice, and you may have your own prospect in that. You will think whether you like it or not. You may have questions to ask. What I want to know is, shall I read you? And I don't like to read it. I like to be extempo. But some of what I have written, notes I have written, and I would bore one person who may have heard it. To read these, this is about the very activity of art or its relationship to the present existence. I mean, society, there's a context of art also, and questions which are inside us. What would you say? Or would you like me just to question me? I mean, grill me on some questions of art. What do you say? Should I read this out? Okay. So again, forgiveness from one person who may have got part of it, and of course also reword. This notes over the years, and there are many more which I have to put together, but I'm too lazy to do that. That's why I haven't brought another fresh batch of it. Doesn't come directly to that, but the context you can see, you must think of the classroom is the best thing to go and do your work when you're doing a studio. But once you're outside it, the greater world is there, which may have something to do with art, which may have nothing to do with art. But finally, it has to do with art because art is part of life, probably the supreme moment of life itself, as and when art comes by your practices or something. But there are hurdles before artists or something, the present existence, although it seems to be prevalent all over the globe or something. But nevertheless, as in life, there are hurdles. I think these hurdles are there. And I think these should be also the concern of practicing artists. When they cut themselves off from other issues, the other issues come back to them. Probably they make artworks out of them also. Now, what I have said is something, this first one is about technique. What is the art technique? And I don't write it because you practice the technique. I don't do it. I do it in the poetry, but not in this painting, the art of painting or sculpture or filmmaking or something like this. Technique, as I would define it, involves an artist's way with paint and brush or his management of textures, etc. It involves also a definition of his or her stance towards life. This is the paramount thing. Have you got a stance or no? Or has it become all standardized? It involves a dynamic alertness that mediates between the origins of feeling in memory. Origins of feeling in memory and experience and the forward strategies that express these in a work of art. It is that whole creative effort to bring the meaning of experience within the jurisdiction of foolproof form. Very often you see works, and I'm not talking applied art, this basic thing doesn't exist, this feeling in memory or something. You do notice it nowadays like that. Probably it's always like that some artists were only craftsperson in some sense, not bad craftsperson, but they have nothing more, this feeling which you harbor over a lifetime, they're not there. This has to be kept in mind. How I'm talking of works of art which have a lasting impact. But what I noticed, and I may be totally mistaken what I've said there, this is also some years ago, everywhere we are told by higher authority, which is not necessarily the state, but other realms of society or the state or community which is happening. I'm not talking industry either, that our human resources are to be used that our nation itself means to use everything it has, rockets, jets, the inventions, indeed every scrap of fact for the well-being of the nation. But still, there is one kind of knowledge, infinitely precious, time-resistant, and not to be passed between generations, whose uses, if any, are its own. What is the goal of life itself, intrinsic? I'm talking about art at its highest moments. I mean that comes from the arts. And this is only one art, painting, plastic art, space art, but there are other, never forget there's other arts also. Right from poetry to theatre, to drama, to music, all these are arts. It seems to me that the power of this knowledge is currently in an age of mechanical sort of digression. It seems to be a digression which is happening because the main thing is the body is not there. The whole trend of civilization goes away from that. It uses applied art at the most, I think, it seems to me. And also it seems to me that we of the day cut ourselves off, that we impoverish ourselves right here. I think that we are underestimating our most vital source of personal power. One that we precisely need in our formalized time. Times are getting very formula-based. Society was not always, human community was not always formalized, there's rules and so on. Far more formalized, is getting very standardized. At a time when it is hard to make sense of giant clusters of events that the newspaper brings to you, that the daily newspaper teaches us to, it is high time to remember this other kind of knowledge, and you may call it also love if you like the word, and it is not misuse this word, which has forever been a way of reaching complexities of emotions which are inside us, tied up, and you go to analysts for that, really. We don't have to go there. And relationships, the attitude that is like the attitude of science, but with a significant and beautiful distinction from it. The attitude that equips our imagination to deal with our inner lives. This is why works of art are. This invisible world inside us, which is there, which needs expression, needs dealing with itself, thought about like this. This is why works of art come. The attitude of art for art is above all an approach to the truth of feeling, as I said again, I'm just repeating. There is a truth there. But you may well ask, and as very often they do, people who are a little cynical about it, how do we use feeling, how do we use truth, I may retort? Because it helps us face the confused scene of life. I mean, it seems very ordered, but I think the confused, you can just think what is happening in newspapers or something like this. Everything is not like that, but it is definitely confused. Clarity is not there. But still, art is that which imagines and makes and gives us distilled imagining. It's not just imagining, we all imagine. We see a lot of cheap stuff, films or something, but finally, this is what the great works of art have, distilled intelligence, distilled imaginings. That's how, after Robert, you come to that. This is your task, to create this distilled imagining for the human community like this. Because you have imagined love, you may well not have loved at all. But still, we, the viewers, can use the imagining. That is by building it into ourselves, by transference like this. For otherwise, we will be left with nothing but illusions. And I think a lot of life, ordered looks outside, really living in illusions like this, a lot of illusions. And great works of art clear our illusions. They actually, what have provoked us to come back to reality. Art is built with illusions, but this task is reality giving it, which is very hard to get. Art is action is also thought. Some works, like applied art, is probably action like that. But it does not cause action. It's not meant to cause action like this. Through your contemplation, you do that. For action, there are other things. It prepares us for thought. Art is not a world, but a knowing of the world. That's how the difference is. Art prepares us, really. That's what happens. Inwardly, all life lives, but I think the level at which art brings us elevates the level of our spirit, ultimately. Art is practiced by artists, and the sympathetic viewer also comes in the picture. Is very important also. Both things, and art cannot be circuit, not complete. It is not to repeat a means to an end. Write your life and is more likely to lead it to a particular kind of action. That is, art, the moment of art carries your whole being into experience like this. This is what you're not thinking only with the mind. You always say imitate nature and all the rest of it. This is known to you all. Not of each other, but of something else. The greater artist, that experience will have meaning. It will apply to your life, and it is more likely to lead to a particular action. That is, you are likely to go, this I've read already. Not of each other, not imitation, both are images of the real, of that spectral and vivid reality, but it is spectral. It is from that part of it which is not, it has got any shape outside, but you give it a shape that employs all means to manifest this. If we fear it not, as I say, we fear it in nature, and our fear brings it on ourselves in the most inner chaos.